This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. Armenia officially recognizes the state of Palestine, according to a statement from the Foreign Ministry released today. The statement referred to Armenia's support for United Nations General Assembly resolutions calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, calling the humanitarian situation there catastrophic. Armenia categorically rejects the targeting of civilian infrastructure, violence against the civilian population, and capture of civilians during the armed conflict. Continuing, the Foreign Ministry reaffirmed its support for a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict and is convinced this is the only way to ensure that Palestinians and Israelis can realize their legitimate aspirations. In response, Israel's Foreign Ministry said it summoned the Armenian ambassador for a harsh reprimand. Earlier this year, the Armenian government sent a 30-ton aid package of desperately needed food and medicine to Palestinians in Gaza for the first time. The United States' top diplomat held a phone call with Azerbaijan's president yesterday to reiterate his country's willingness to support further engagement between Armenia and Azerbaijan and urged him to reach a normalization deal without delay. In a readout of the call, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken highlighted constructive cooperation with Azerbaijan on shared climate and energy goals and called for a renewed and stronger bilateral relationship between their countries. Blinken also urged Azerbaijan to adhere to its international human rights obligations and commitments and to expeditiously release all those unjustly detained. The Azerbaijani readout of the call released this morning made no mention of that. Dozens of ethnic Armenians, including 8 former senior Nagorno-Karabakh officials, are held in Azerbaijan. In related news, according to Armenia's National Security Service, Azerbaijan today handed over the remains of 2 Armenian servicemen who are believed to have died during Azerbaijan's 2-day attack on Armenia in September 2022. Russia's top diplomat told reporters today that Armenia's withdrawal from the Collective Security Treaty Organization, a Kremlin-led military bloc, was not discussed at yesterday's meeting of its foreign ministers. Yes, the foreign minister of Armenia did not participate in this session, but there was no document, no official step by Armenia that would make it necessary to discuss the consequences of something that did not happen. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said. Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said earlier this month that Armenia would eventually leave the CSTO, but did not provide any time frame. Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan's decision not to attend the meeting keeps with Armenia's decision earlier this year to freeze its membership in the alliance. Instead, Mirzoyan visited Lithuania, where he met with the exiled Belarusian opposition leader Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya, in addition to senior Lithuanian officials. In a post on X referring to the sitting Belarusian president and close Putin ally, Tsikhanouskaya thanked Armenia for its firm stance against Lukashenko's regime and expressed hope for continued close cooperation between Armenia and Belarusian democratic forces. Last week, Pashinyan announced a new policy banning all Armenian officials from visiting Belarus as long as Lukashenko remains in power. Documents leaked to the news site Politico last week revealed that Belarus sold Azerbaijan weapons both before and after the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war, despite being a fellow CSTO member. Yesterday, Mirzoyan also met with his Lithuanian counterpart, Gabrielis Landsberger, and thanked him for his support in Armenia's ongoing efforts to deepen relations with the European Union. Ambassador Nina Hachikian, the U.S. Special Representative for City and State Diplomacy, joined CivilNet to discuss the State Department's engagement with local officials around the world, including new efforts in Armenia. She also discusses the state of relations between Washington and Yerevan more broadly, as well as what it means personally for Armenian Americans like her to work on these issues. Find a link to the broadcast in this video's description. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 50. That's because Raya Nazarian, an ethnic Armenian member of the Bulgarian parliament, was named chairperson, or speaker, of its 50th National Assembly. She is a 38-year-old lawyer from the city of Varna. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.